Hello, students. Welcome back to your history class. We are doing the seventh theme, that's the seventh chapter, changing cultural traditions. Up till now, we spoke about Renaissance, and we've seen Jacob Burckhardt's view on it. We have seen how he felt Renaissance existed in Italy, and we have also read about the book that he wrote that spoke of the civilization of the Renaissance in Italy, in which he, draws the reader's attention to other aspect of history where he does, and where Jacob does not believe like his professor, like his master. He does not believe like Leopold von Ranke that history is only supposed to be, history deals only and only with the politics. Okay, so over here in this book that Jacob Burckhardt wrote, he points out to the culture, the humanist culture, and all the other things that have taken place between the 14th and the 17th century. Then we saw the revival of the Italian cities, and we know about the two types of cities that we had. That was the republics and the city states, or the court cities. Okay, the court cities were the ones that were ruled by the princes, and we spoke about the different types of cities. Now we are going to speak about the universities and humanism. Now, the earliest universities in Europe, they had been set up in the Italian town. The universities of Padua and Bologna, they had been the centers of legal studies from the 11th century. Commerce being the chief activity in the city, there was an increasing demand for lawyers and notaries to write and to interpret rules and the written agreements without which trade on a large scale was not possible. Law was therefore a popular subject of study, but there was now a shift in emphasis. It was studied in the context of earlier Roman culture, represented this change. Okay, so now law had become a popular subject of study, and this happened. Uh, there was now a shift in the emphasis of things. It was studied in the context of the earlier. So the change in the emphasis, and the law became a popular subject, and now it was studied in the context of the earlier Roman culture. Okay, then we are going to speak about someone who is called Francisca Petrarch. Okay, Francesco Petrarch, he represented this change, and he stressed the significance of a deep reading of ancient authors. Okay, for Petrarch, antiquity was a distinctive civilization which could be best understood through the actual words of ancient Greeks and Romans. He started to stress for the importance of reading these texts more closely, reading the ancient authors more closely. Now, this educational program, it implied that there was much to be learned with religious teachings alone could not give. So now he brought that education cannot only be religious teachings. This was the culture which the historians in the 19th century were to label as humanism. So now the historians of the 19th century started to label this change that happened in the 14th to 17th century as humanism. This particular change was labeled humanism. By early 15th century, the term humanist, the term humanist was used for masters who taught grammar, rhetorics, uh, poetry, history, and moral philosophy. So all the people who used to teach these subjects, they started to be called as humanists. The Latin word humanitas from which humanities was derived had been used many centuries ago by the Roman lawyer and essayist Cicero, a contemporary of the Julius Caesar. So, Cicero, who's a contemporary of Julius Caesar, he started to use the word humanitas, from which the word humanities was derived. Okay. Uh, these subjects were not drawn from or connected with religion. They emphasized skills developed by the individuals through discussions and debate. So these subjects, these humanitarian subjects that we're talking about, the grammar, rhetoric, poetry, history, these were not, these had no connection with religion, and these subjects were developed uh, with lots of discussions and debates between people. These revolutionary ideas attracted attracted attention in many other universities, particularly in the newly established university in Petrarch's own hometown of Florence. Till the end of the 13th century, this city had not made a mark as a trade or of learning, but things changed dramatically in the 15th century. A city is known by its great citizens as much as its wealth, and Florence had come to be known because of Dante Alighieri, who was a layman who wrote on religious themes, Giotto, who was an artist who painted lifelike portraits, and this was very different at that time because that time only stiff figures were done, and then it developed as the exciting intellectual city in Italy and as a center of artistic creativity. The term Renaissance man is often used to describe a person with many interests and skills because many of the individuals who became well known at this time were people of many parts. They were scholars, diplomats, theologians, artists, all combined in one. So basically, what happened is all these new ideas uh, that started to be generated, that were seeding, that were growing. They were specially established in the university in Florence, which was also the hometown of Petrarch. By 15th century, Florence became famous as a trade and education center. Up till then, it was not famous, but by the 15th century, it became famous. A city was, and then later on, there were a lot of Renaissance men that came from that city. All these people were called Renaissance men because they were people of many parts. Okay, and some of them were Dante Alighieri and Giotto. Okay, and then now Florence became one of the most exciting intellectual cities in Italy, and it also became a center of artistic creativity. Okay, now let's look at the view how these humanists, these people of many parts, or these revolutionary men, or whatever, how did they view history? How did they see history? Now, humanists thought that they were restoring true civilization after centuries of darkness, for they believed that a dark age had set in after the collapse of the Roman Empire. They believed that after the decline of the Roman Empire, there was a dark age, and the humanists believed that they were restoring the society back into its true civilization format and pulling them out of the dark age. Following them, scholars unquestionably assumed that a new age had begun in Europe from the 14th century. So, believing these views that humanists were pulling the society out of the dark age that has fallen on the society after the decline of the Roman Empire, people started to believe that a new age has begun. Uh, So basically, it was like decline of Roman Empire, Dark Age, and the New Age. Okay, after the 14th century, the period of 1,000 years, that is one full millennium after the fall of the Roman Empire, was considered as Middle Ages or medieval period. Okay, about Middle Ages, they say that religion or church, they controlled the minds of all men in a way that all the learnings of the Greeks and Romans had been washed out. So, how do they differentiate this? In the medieval period or in the medieval age, they say that the man was completely controlled by the church and religion, and whatever they said was only considered true, and whatever all the learnings of the Greeks and Romans was completely washed out. It did not exist. The humanists termed the period from 15th century as modern, and they started to term the period from 15th century as modern. Modern historians were debating over labeling of an age as dark, which they thought was an unfair thing. Now, the modern historians, now after 15th century, they said that the society is now in the modern age. So the modern historians, they started to debate that it's very unfair to call a particular age dark age, because we've not lived through the entire world. We've not finished. So we don't know which is the dark age. We cannot point out and say this was the dark age because of the end of the Roman Empire. So basically, the how did humanists view a history is right here. From the 5th century to the 14th century, they said it was the Middle Ages, because in this age, everything that the you know this was the time when Roman Empire was there. Then after the Roman Empire falls down, that is the 5th century to the 9th century. Okay, that they are terming as Dark Ages. Now, the part of the Dark Ages which are not part of the Middle Ages, okay, that period is the period where only the church and the religion is ruling the mind of the people. Then from the 9th to 11th century, okay, from the 9th to 11th century, it is termed as the early Middle Ages, and 11th to 14th century, they say the late Middle Ages, and finally, after the 15th century, they say modern ages. But the modern historians, they find the labeling any period in history as dark age, they find it very unfair, because we've not lived through time. We do not know the dark. There could be a dark age coming, or there could be a time it's already gone. We are not aware, so they do not like terming any period as dark age. Recently, the historians are questioning this division, with more and more research being found out, especially about Europe in this period. Scholars are now reluctant to make these divisions, these sharp divisions between centuries, especially in terms of being culturally vibrant or not being vibrant. It seems that labeling any era as dark age is quite unfair. So, speaking about humanism, Italian cities and universities, that is Padua and Bologna. Humanities is a term derived from the Latin word humanitas. Cicero of Rome was the first person to use this term, the humanism term, for culture. Humanities is basically language, history, and literature. They emphasize more on the achievement and skill of man, the individuality, the liberty, and the secularism. And they are stressed that man was the center of the universe and had the dignity and value. Who is Petrarch? Francisco Petrarch. He was a scholar and a poet who was responsible for the recovery of the manuscripts and works of the Greek and the Roman writers. Okay, and he was the one who stressed on the importance of close reading of the material of these ancient authors. He traveled throughout Europe, recovering the manuscripts of Cicero and other Roman authors that had been lost in the monastery libraries. Petrarch, like other writers of the time, he wrote in Latin. Then Dante. Who was Dante? Now, Dante Alighieri, he was a layman who wrote on religious themes. He's also considered as the father of the Italian language. He wrote the Divine Comedy. The Divine Comedy is considered one of the greatest works of Italian and world literature. Dante was the first to write in the vernacular, that is, the language that is used in everyday life. Until his time, all European literature was written in Latin, but he was the first one to write in the language that was used every day, that is Italian. So, what was the impact of humanism? Now, in the medieval era, church and religion controlled the mind of the people, and everyone believed that, Earth is in the center of the universe and Mediterranean Sea is in the center of the world. Now, what was the impact of uh, humanism? So, basically, church and king were the most important in the medieval era, and the medieval man. But now, in the humanist stage, in the humanism, people became more important. Emphasis shifted to people's achievements, and individual became more important. In medieval thought, in medieval era, people used to think that man is sinful, whereas in humanism, they lived with the belief that man is good with dignity and value. In medieval thought, a hierarchy of people's worth was passed from one person to another, whereas in humanism, dignity and worth of all people was considered equal. But over here, only the ones people's worth is like, if you're a king's child, that means you should worth it. He's more worthy. But in humanism, equality came in. In medieval thought, life pleasures must be avoided to please God, whereas in the humanism thinking, people can enjoy life and still be good Christians. So it went against this entire idea where the church said that you have to kill your pleasure to make the God happy. Now, in the medieval thinking, it accepted the human condition, whereas in the modern, the humanism thinking, it encouraged human achievement. In the medieval thinking, it accepted the church doctrine without any question, any reasoning. Whatever church said was considered true. Whereas in the humanism thinking, each individual finds the truth for himself. Okay. Italy is the home to Renaissance. This is again a similar map. Okay, you should be practicing these maps. So get a political map of Italy to practice this. Mark the Adriatic Sea, Sicily, Sardinia, Corsica, all the states of Italy. Okay, and practice this map. Okay, we will do this next class, the origins of Renaissance. So with this, I end today's class. Children, stay home, stay safe, take care, and keep learning. Thank you.